How many people do you know who struggle with their health? Chances are, whether they show it or not, most of the people in your life do. And chances are, you're one of them. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, endometriosis, acne, eczema, autoimmune, thyroid, Lyme, brain fog, fatigue, or any other symptom or condition, you're far from alone. Living with symptoms has become the new normal. So no more guessing games. It's time to get answers. Welcome to the Medical Medium Podcast. I'm Anthony William. We're talking about pharmaceuticals. We're talking about medications, drugs. Are you on a pharmaceutical? Have you been taking a drug or a pharmaceutical prescribed by your doctor? Maybe you're not on any pharmaceutical and you're proud of that. Maybe you're proud because you're clear and free from all pharmaceuticals, but what you don't know is you still have pharmaceuticals running through your veins and inside your organs. Pharmaceuticals and drugs that have been there for a very long time, including drugs and pharmaceuticals that you're exposed to every day and don't even realize it. Get ready for this episode. It's going to blow your mind and make you rethink your everyday life. Jeez, this pool is packed. God, I should have got here earlier. This is insane. There's a lifeguard here. Whoa. Oh, I just got splashed in the face. God, you know, I used to really like this hotel, but this place is insane right now. It's like everybody took a vacation all at the same time or something. I think I just got a water drop in my mouth from the pool. All right, I'm gonna get in. Just, what's that floating there? What is that? Why is the lifeguard like starting to round everybody up? He's shutting down the pool. Hey, everybody's got to get out. All right, we're getting out. What is that in the pool? Even if you're not taking a pharmaceutical, even if you're not taking a drug that's prescribed by your doctor, you're still taking them. You're taking them in different forms. Pools and water parks, great way to absorb pharmaceuticals. Have you ever been into a public pool or maybe a private pool that many people have swam through the course of the years? Have you ever been to a water park? All of these places have pharmaceuticals inside the water. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking they chlorinate the pool. It's disinfected, so there's nothing to worry about. They shock it with chlorine for parasites, bacteria, and algae. Chlorine doesn't remove any of the pharmaceutical residues. So how do pharmaceuticals get into the water in the pool or the water park? How does it get out of somebody's body and into the water? When someone takes antibiotics, antidepressants, anti-inflammatories, sleeping pills, biologics, immunosuppressants, prescription amphetamines, opioids, statins, blood pressure medications, hormone medications, thyroid medications, steroids, the pill, pharmaceutical, alcohol, recreational drugs of any kind, it comes out through the skin. It's sticking to their skin in their sweat. It's coming out of their bodies. It's in their armpits. It's in their breath. It's in their spit. It's in their urine. It's everywhere. So when someone's swimming in the pool, there's pharmaceutical runoff. That's pharmaceuticals running off of their skin, coming out of their armpits, coming off their genitals, coming out of their mouth when they get water in their mouth. And even when they pee in the pool, they don't have to urinate in the pool. They can have a little few drops of urine in their shorts and they get into the pool, or feces that hasn't been wiped good. It gets in the pool water. And when someone's taking pharmaceuticals and they're prescribed drugs and medications or on recreational drugs, it's inside their intestinal tract. So when they have flatulence, gas, it's inside the gas. So when one person farts in the pool, that gas is filtered through the water. So as the gas bubbles come out of their anus, it's now circulating through the water and it rises to the top and then the gas appears. People think that's funny a lot of times, and there's a lot of jokes around it. But either way, that gas was filtered through the water. The water acted as a filter, grabbing onto everything in there, including residues of pharmaceuticals. And then there's pharmaceutical creams. A lot of people are on ointments prescribed by their doctors. Ointments and creams. Acne creams, dermatitis creams, steroids for eczema, psoriasis, creams for all kinds of different ringworm, creams and ointments for the shingles, creams and ointments for herpes, simplex 1, simplex 2, creams for rashes, creams for hormones, and creams and ointments for poison ivy and poison oak. And then there's creams and sprays and ointments for feet problems, foot fungus, athlete's foot, toenail fungus, and fingernail fungus. And there's ointments and creams for warts, warts on the feet, warts on the hands. And there's so many more creams and ointments from pharmaceutical companies prescribed for patients and over the counter at the drugstore. And of course, we can't forget chemotherapy drugs that are topical. But you might be thinking, maybe none of this matters. You weren't swimming on the day they were swimming. Plus all that chlorine, that shock to the water, all that fungicide to the water takes care of it. It's fresh and new the minute they do it. And then the filtration, pool filters, that must get everything. Nope, it doesn't. Doesn't get anything. The filter doesn't filter any of the pharmaceuticals. The pharmaceutical runoff stays in the pool for the lifetime of the water that's staying in the pool. A hotel pool could potentially have thousands and thousands of people inside that pool throughout the years. And a hotel may not drain the water out of that pool for a decade or more. The pharmaceutical soup inside the pool concentrates and concentrates, and it never dissipates. But don't worry. The pool guy will come in, test the water, make sure everything's okay, throw some chlorine in there, clean up a little bit, and everything should be great. But the pool guy isn't testing for pharmaceuticals. There could be hundreds and hundreds of different pharmaceuticals in the pool water for years. Many pharmaceuticals that were even taken off the market because they were dangerous or caused problems. And then what about the big concern that so many people have and so many doctors have and health authorities have, which is mixing pharmaceuticals, pharmaceutical cocktails. You can't take this drug with this drug. Can't take these two drugs and then take this drug. You can't take these three drugs and bring this one in. Boom, they all go bad. You can't take this drug and that drug at the same time. If you take this drug with this drug, you could have a bad reaction, could even be death. Meanwhile, the pool is filled with a ton of different kinds of drugs. All right, so they open the pool back up. Yeah, get your towel. Okay. Yep, lifeguard says it's all clear. Okay. It's actually warm in here. Pretty good. Okay. I just swallowed a whole gulp of water. Did you ever swallow a gulp of water in a public pool? Did you ever swallow a gulp of water in a private pool? Either way, it's easy to swallow a gulp of water in a pool or get water in your mouth or get water in your eyes, nevertheless in your ears. And once you swallow that gulp of water, all that pharmaceutical residue finds its way inside the body, gets into the liver, gets into the organs, the tissue, gets to your brain. And all the pharmaceutical creams, they actually enter into your body real easy too, through your skin. Other pharmaceuticals enter your body through your skin too. All of it could get through your skin, doesn't even have to be in your ears, eyes, or mouth. And then what about someone who's swimming that's on recreational drugs? Weed, ecstasy, Molly, meth. You don't think a meth head swims? What about cocaine, heroin, crack, or just anybody who's addicted to opioids one way or another through prescription pharmaceuticals because they were in a lot of pain, or someone who's a drug addict who just has a connection and takes them anyway. Either way, it ends up in the pool and it stays there and then concentrates over time. And then more people come in and bring in more pharmaceuticals. And what about the water supply? Where did the water come from originally that entered the pool? And then water filtration systems, they don't grab onto pharmaceutical residue. How do pharmaceuticals get into the water supply? People are eliminating the pharmaceuticals out of their body when they go to the bathroom, and it ends up back into the water system. So that when we're filling our pools with water, we're filling our pools with water that has pharmaceutical residue in it already. And our water supplies in general have contamination in them. This also means that medication-laced water can end up anywhere. It could become part of our food through reservoirs, irrigation, public water supplies, well water near septic tanks, and fish swimming in lakes, rivers, and oceans, all absorbing pharmaceutical residue. And maybe you're thinking you haven't swam in a pool for a very, very long time, like years. But guess what? When you did swim in that pool a long time ago, that pharmaceutical residue got into your body and stayed there unless you're doing something actively trying to remove it or get it out or cleanse it. Or if you're brushing your teeth with the water, or cooking with tap water, or eating out at restaurants, or getting coffee at restaurants, drinking tea in restaurants, you're getting that pharmaceutical treated water. And restaurant water normally contains pharmaceutical runoff. This isn't about fear. This isn't about not being able to live your life. That's not it. It's being aware of what's happening out there so you can do something about it, so you can be proactive, empowered. Because it's death by 1,000 cuts. It chips away at us over time. And then when we get sick, how do we get better fast? How do we look out for the pitfalls, the potholes? And how do we get rid of the pharmaceutical exposure? Even if we're taking pharmaceuticals prescribed by our doctors, we still want to cleanse out the old stuff, the residue. Our bodies are up against a lot. We already have a difficult time naturally detoxing anything here on planet Earth. Our bodies have a difficult time enough getting rid of natural bodily toxins. We're not designed to get rid of all these different chemicals and metals and man-made industrial waste, not to mention things that we're exposed to every day, fragrances, colognes, perfumes, cleaning products. And then there's pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. We get it on us all the time. Just buying brand new clothes, our body gets exposed to so many different chemicals from that alone. Our bodies are not indestructible. They're not meant to receive all these different toxins and poisons and get bombarded. And at the same time, our bodies are resilient and they're strong, but they have a breaking point. We take our bodies for granted here on planet Earth. And then when our body starts to fail, like we get symptoms and conditions, we're not feeling good, we listen to people telling us it's our fault, our body's fault. Then we end up hating our bodies. We start blaming our bodies, thinking that they're faulty, they're not working good. How come we can't get out of the sickness or the symptom? Your body can't just tell you, hey, mister, we got exposed. Something got into us. When we were swimming, all these pharmaceuticals entered us. Our bodies can't say, hey, did you know that tap water that was used in the coffee at the fancy coffee shop was toxic and it got something into us? And our bodies can't say, hey, listen, all that tap water we're using for the shower and the bathroom and for your coffee and for your food is all saturated with pharmaceuticals and getting in us. And I just need a little help getting it out of us. Our bodies need assistance. They need help. They want to heal. They're fighting for us. It's important to be aware of all the different things that our body is up against. This isn't about never swimming again or drinking something from a restaurant. It's just about becoming empowered, because all of these different toxins, like pharmaceutical runoff from other people, going into your own body, sits in us, and it builds up over time, and it becomes something that gets in the way down the road. Find out more information on how to get rid of certain toxins, such as pharmaceutical exposure, in the Brain Saver books. If you're on a medication, you know you're on a medication. If you're on a drug, you know if you're on a drug. Your doctor prescribed it. If you're doing drugs recreationally, you know you're doing drugs. You're on them. There's a knowing they were administered, or you're partaking in choosing to use them. And that's okay, because you know that's what you're doing. Any residue from those drugs and pharmaceuticals is in your liver, it's in your body, it's in your bloodstream, it's in your brain for years to come. But what about the drugs and pharmaceuticals you're unaware of? What about the ones we collect throughout our life in the ways we've talked about? What about the ones that enter us without our permission, without our intentions, without our own free will? We didn't have a choice. They just entered us. They invaded us, and our body cries for help. Along the way, we develop symptoms and conditions from so many different things that our body is exposed to. But this is just one of those very things our body ends up battling. But we can turn it all around. We can give our bodies what they need. We can assist. We can be our body's greatest advocate.
Original published medical medium information gets stolen and poached by podcast doctors, social media doctors, influencers, and medical clinics. Medical medium information has never yet been proven wrong by medical science and research. Instead, the opposite, only proven right and then taken from medical medium published material and used in the conventional and alternative health communities. Medical medium information continually sets the stage for medical science to understand chronic illness better. If you choose to share or use the original, unique content from the Medical Medium podcast, books, or Medical Medium social media, please cite where this information comes from, so others who see and learn of this information have a chance to know where it all originates, to give them an opportunity to heal, so they don't end up losing years of their life searching for answers like so many have before them. The Medical Medium information here on this podcast doesn't come from broken science, interest groups, medical funding with strings attached, botched research, lobbyists, internal kickbacks, persuaded belief systems, private panels of influencers, health field payoffs, trendy traps, or gathered bits and pieces of gimmicky confusion. Because chronic illness is exploding like never before in our modern day history, it takes a greater force than us down here. It takes a helping hand from above. Medical medium information has street cred. It's an organic movement of countless people around the world healing. More healing stories of real people not being paid to tell their life-changing experiences of rising out of the ashes of sickness and entering into the light of full recovery, getting their lives back and finally healing when nothing else in the world of health could move the needle and get them better. The information on this podcast is not man-made. It comes from above, from a higher source. Whatever you believe in, whether God, the universe, the light, or the creator, or if you believe in nothing at all, that we're just floating through space together on this rock. Know that the information you hear on this podcast is separate from all the other noise out there. It comes from a different place, a pure, untampered with, advanced, clean, uncorrupted, original, primary source, a higher source, spirit of compassion.